everyone, welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another indie horror spotlight. Today I have with us, he's a director, and he has a short film right now streaming on YouTube. By the way, it's down, and the link is down in the description, and it's called It's All About Her. I have with us Dillon Ronio-McMains. Dillon, welcome to the Horror Room.
How's it going, Travis? Thank you for having me on.
It's a pleasure having you on, brother. Pleasure having you on. By the way, dressed sharp for this interview, too. I love it.
Man. Thank you. I like to keep it dapper.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. All right. So tell my audience, I've had a chance to see it, but tell them a little bit about It's All About Her.
Well, so it started out as a short story that I wrote back in 8th grade. I sat on it a little while. I always did like little short films here and there with my friends and whatnot, and just figured one day I'm actually gonna start trying to create a movie. And I figured All About Her had a interesting enough storyline, so I figured why not try with that one.
And one thing about this movie, you get to follow the killer through his process.
Yep.
And there's no visuals. There's no audio. There's no sound.
Yep.
For the most part. I mean, there's no dialogue. That's what I'm looking for. But when there is dialogue towards the end, it is pretty fucking gruesome.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, so my inspiration for that is Hitchcock, of course, with Psycho. The idea behind that was I wanted to feel as surreal as possible. So when me and my group were coming up with the idea of like how that would feel, we were like, let's use the lack of sound, almost in a sense of like, because I'm also a fan of silent films and pre-code, so it was more so I wanted the action of it to be the storyteller instead of dialogue itself.
And you did an excellent job of this, because you know something's bad is going to happen, but you don't know when and you don't know how.
Yes, sir.
And it keeps you kind of on the edge of your seat the whole entire time.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I had a lot of fun filming it. Our actor Wes, he's brilliant. He's very adamant about what is the character's name is Walter. Figuring how Walter is feeling in these specific situations because of how we gauged it. You don't know if it's before or after or even during the situation. So we just we played with it a little bit, and I'm very pleased with the turnout of it.
And one thing I enjoyed that I don't know, so like I feel like some people would like, oh, I don't like that. The one thing I liked was that you give the audience the opportunity to kind of come up with a conclusion of why Walter is doing this on their own. What was that your expectation? Was that what you were planning on doing?
For the most part, yes. So I'm very much into, how would you say, like you suggested, coming to your own conclusions. The idea in it is I don't necessarily want it to be a cliffhanger, but I do like creating the idea of uncertainty with the audience. That's something I look for in movies that I enjoy, like shout out to Hereditary, stuff like that. So it's like, it's one of those where like I very much wanted people to be engaged with the situation. That was the plan, why we kept dialogue out of the movie and just kept with specific sounds and, again, just action and the process of the journey.
And the title is it's all about her. So you see the title and you go in and you know that it's going to be a her,
Yes.
and you're waiting to see. You know he's going to her, but you don't know who she is.
Yes.
Why is she so important to him?
Well, so to give a little backstory on it, like I said, uh, the story I wrote was a short story, and the idea was we wanted her to be pretty much anyone. I had the idea of you yourself could be her. In a sense, it's from a first person perspective. So the idea is to keep keep the, as you would say, the victim's name on the hush, so you don't necessarily realize uh, you could have sympathy for the victim. You could just be like, okay, well, where is that going to take me? And the idea for this is so it's a short, and how I have it is this is act one. And the plan is to bring out more acts so the story goes on. So you figure out a bit more about who her is. You get a little bit more of her backstory. So that's how I interpret it.
Now, Dylan, I must be completely fucked up in the head because I did the complete opposite when I was watching it.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I was putting myself in the shoes of the killer.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, who is her? As who am I killing? Like who is this woman that pissed me off so much that I shouldn't say I'm preparing to do this violent thing too.
Well,
And in my mind, I was like, is this an ex-girlfriend? Is this someone who broke his heart? Is this his wife he found out he cheated on him? That's where my mind was going.
but it's funny you say that, because when I wrote the short story back in 8th grade, it's actually from the killer's perspective. So it's the first person perspective of the killer, and you find out that we'll just say it's a family member. And the idea of it, as the story will progress, it will be essentially family traumas and where that could take you if those family traumas are left unresolved.
Now, when you were writing this, did you get any inspiration from your real life or family traumas or?
A little bit, yes, and also just there was a bunch of different stories that I was very heavy into Edgar Allan Poe growing up too, so just kind of within that realm of sorrowful, the sorrowfulness of his writings, and just kind of gauging, what could happen to somebody if they chose not to try to get help or resolve those emotions that sometimes can be bottled up.
And I agree. Now, Dylan, in many movies we've seen where a killer, somebody's about to kill someone, is going to a hardware store and they're getting kill equipment. The gloves, the tape, the stuff like that.
Yes.
So if you went to the Home Depot and you seen or a hardware store, somebody getting a kill kit, would that alarm you or be like make you suspicious? Like, damn, I want this person to kill somebody. Should I call 911? Or would you be like, oh well, I mean, it's a sale?
Well, I think it kind of depends on the mood for the day. No, it's funny because me and my wife, she's also an avid horror fan. We both are, so we go in there all the time, and we just make jokes about if we see people just getting like those certain tools or whatever, supplies, as you would say. We just joke about it. So like, as I was coming up with that scene, I was just like, I think it would just be really cool if we kind of had it where we were following him throughout the day. As I said before, it could be before he's planning, it could be afterwards. And the sense of I guess that's where my sick humor comes in on that. It's almost supposed to be a joke because you don't know whether it's like, okay, like of course he's in the store grabbing these utensils, and like it's just the idea of like, what is he up to? So we just had fun with that.
Now I can imagine, making short films. You probably have a lot of ideas that you want to put into the film, but you have a short time span. So how many different ideas did you cut out? Were there some things that you cut out that you wish that you could have edited?
Well, so with this one, it was with my script. We kind of cut and dried with these. I would say it's 3 specific scenes within the script. I have a 5-page script that has the whole story on it, but we're cutting it up into sections, as you said, to just get an idea and a feel of how the scenes are going to turn out. But I would say I have over 50 different clips that I'm like, I wish we could have had for this specific short. It's just how it would fit in, and sometimes it was just for time as well. So like gauging it with the sense of like, I don't know if that would necessarily work for the short itself, or it just felt out of place for the actual overall feel of the short film.
Now, one of the things, and I'm spoiled. I'm not trying to give away the spoiler or anything, but one of the scenes in the movie in the beginning is we follow Walter. He's driving, and one of the things that you hear is, on the radio, they're talking about, a mass murderer, a serial killer.
Yes, sir.
What was there a reasoning about, and was there a reason behind why you decided to put that in the film?
Absolutely. The idea of it was because we want to paint a picture of I don't know if you're familiar with psychology. Apologize, but the id of somebody's mind. Essentially, we're following him into descent of madness. The idea is that he is a intelligent man. He, of course, it's the aspect of maybe he's psyching himself up to get ready for the situation. He could just be casually listening to it on the way to the store, before or after the situation itself. The way I designed the thought process behind it is he loves classical music, but he also likes to listen to very true crime stories, true crime situations, and that was the idea behind that.
Amazing. Now, how long did it take you filming wise to film the short?
I would say overall it took about 4 or 5 days to to get everything situated. Of course, getting schedules to work out properly, because of course Wes is a very busy man outside of being a fantastic actor. He was very, very adamant about trying to get his schedule correct for it, and of course just planning and figuring out the days and locations, who would allow, who wouldn't allow filming, because of course it's very low budget, next to no budget, and have to be very specific with not showing brands, and so it was very tricky, but also it helped me figure out how to work around those corners.
Now, when it came to the actual death scene in this movie, did you do any research on how serial killers today dispose of bodies?
Ooh, a lot, actually. Funny enough, I've been an avid fan of true crime myself. So I've always watched videos about serial killers and just their processes that they go through. And of course, just watching other horror movies that deal with serial killers, like American Psycho, how Patrick Bateman lines his house with plastic and everything before the kill, how he dons the raincoat, before the scene with the axe. That it's beautiful, in a very twisted sense. But so it was just a lot of inspiration with that, and thinking like, okay, where would one commit an atrocity like this, right? So it's like, I got to thinking, got to brainstorming, and I was like, why wouldn't it just be in his garage? Why wouldn't it just be in a shed he owned? You don't know where it's at. It could be in backyard, could be out in the woods somewhere. How would that room look? Probably a lot of hardware equipment. He probably would have plastic hanging up, and how would he feel in that situation? Would it be, would he want to be quick about it? Would he want to take his time? Again, just how he feels with this particular locations.
Because, in the year 2024,
Yes,
I can imagine it is tough to kill someone and get away with
Woo!
especially get away with the remains. And, I listen, maybe it's my dark mind, but I've always had a fascination with serial killers,
yes, sir.
stuff like that. And I always thought to myself, like, if I was going to kill someone, how would I dispose of the body? Now, I have good ways that I would do it. By the way, I'm not a killer. But, like...
That's what they all say.
Yes, what they all say. But, years working in the funeral industry,
Yes.
I definitely know possible ways that the average citizen doesn't know how to. But it's almost impossible to get away with murder and disposing of a body in the year 2024.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and that was also something that came to it. So the idea is it is set in modern times, but it's like, so he would be a very cautious killer. So again, we were just like, how would he go about that process? How would he figure out? He's very meticulous. He's very strategic with how his playtime would go.
And I absolutely love that, because I hate when I see horror movies or just movies in general, and the killer is just reckless and blood is all flying all over the place, because that's not how really you would kill someone. I'm assuming if you were going to plan it out, you were planning it out so that you're not going to get caught. That's it. Part of the process of killing someone is the planning on not getting caught.
Right.
I would assume, if you're a smart killer.
Right.
So I definitely like to see that, he was planning, but at the same time, he was doing something I see in a lot of horror movies and TV shows, where he was buying the typical killing kit from the hardware store.
Right. Well, and again, so it's the idea is just he's descending into this debauchery, So it's the idea is, maybe this is his first, maybe this is his last, maybe it's a buildup to the crescendo of destruction, if you would. So it was very fun and very, I would even say daunting on just figuring out how Walter would go about it. And I think it turned out lovely.
It's definitely great. Now, Dillon, as you know, this is a horror channel, so I'm going to ask you 3 random horror questions. It's a personal opinion, okay? All right. If you were going to kill somebody, how would you do it, Dillon? How would you dispose of their body? Dillon, we're not saying you're a killer or anything, but if you were going to do it, how would you do it?
Oh, I couldn't tell you that, or I'd have to kill you. No, I mean, limestone wouldn't be too bad, you know. As you said earlier, you mentioned you worked in the funeral business. I used to work in the funeral business as well, so
Ah,
I've learned how to get rid of a body if need be, especially without somebody being able to detect. But me personally, if hypothetically, if I was a crazed serial killer, I would have no hair on my body for one. You know, leave all possible chances of being it traced back to me. Gloves all the time. Whatever outfit I would wear, it would be a one-time outfit. It would be burned immediately after the situation. Um, and probably, I mean, I'm a huge fan of The Shining, so it probably would be with an axe. Yeah, it's just something. It's about the bludgeoning of it, I guess. The splatter, you know. I'm a
yes.
fan of. I'm sure we're all fans of just that extreme blood splatter. So, and that was something we try to capture with the kill in it. And again, I was very satisfied with it.
See, us. It must be us, the funeral industry people. Yes,
Yes.
we think about shit like this. I don't think the average person thinks about it, but my mind is if I was going to off someone, which I'm never going to off anyone, but if I was going to, like, I have a calculated plan. So don't
Right.
fuck with me, people. I got a plan, and they're not going to find you. But
Check
all
off.
right, yeah. Dylan. Okay, all right. Says the second question. What is the most ruthless kill that you've seen in a horror movie that you're like, fuck, I want to.
That's a good one. Could I give you three of them?
Give me three.
So, Jack Torrance, of course, that absolute. I mean, he only kills one person in the movie, but just the death in itself, it's stuck in my mind. Okay, so it would definitely go to Jack, the first one. Number two would probably be, oh, what is it? Freddy and I think it's the fifth one with when he's in the institute with the kids.
Which kill?
Where he basically creates the puppet out of the kid and he makes him
Oh, that
like
was
walk off the
that
ledge.
was. I think that was part four. I want to say that was
Four.
four.
That's
Yeah.
right. And then anything from the Terrifier series, honestly.
Oh, that shit's fucked up.
Like I absolutely love Art the Clown, Damien Leonin, David, Howard Thornton. I believe we have a new icon for our modern age horror slasher fans.
Art the Clown. I said at the time I'm not a huge Terrifier, but
Yeah,
Art the Clown and his fucking kills are ruthless. I
they
mean,
are
they
brutal,
are
man.
fucking
They
brutal.
they are grotesque fun.
It's overkill. It's overkill
Yes,
sometimes. It's fucking
absolutely,
overkill sometimes.
absolutely.
All right. Third question.
Yes, sir.
I think I'm on top of my head. All right. Who is a horror villain that you actually cheer for? When you watch his movies, you actually cheer for him, not the victims.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Uh, I'm gonna bring it back to 1930s Boris Karloff's Frankenstein's monster.
Ah,
He holds a very special place in my heart. He's one of the first horror films that I watched with my grandpa. My grandpa loved watching horror with me, so and he very much enjoyed Lugosi, Karloff, Lon Chaney. Those were all his guys. So I grew up on old school classics, and even so, for me, that's why silent films and pre-code films they hold a very strong place in my heart.
Some good ones, man. Those are some good ones.
Yes, sir.
Dillon, where can everyone find you, my friend?
My Facebook at Dillon Ronio-McMains. I have a YouTube for It's All About Her. It would be under that. And if you can't find it under It's All About Her, go to @Driver's Seat, because that is Act 1. Also, I have a page for It's All About Her on Facebook as well. That's pretty much where I'm at the moment. We're trying to grow our audience so we can try to bring more of the story to everybody and just have fun with creating this madness.
Fucking love it, man. I fucking love it. Listen, by the way, the description to the YouTube is right down in the description, so definitely click, like, share, do all that good shit. And Dillon, listen, I would love to have you back on for Act 2. And Act 2, if you're interested, I would love to do a live stream on my channel of it.
Hey, let's do it.
So that everyone can see it and we can engage and ask questions about it live.
Yes, sir. It would be great. Let's do it.
Let's do it, brother. All right, everyone. Well, listen, thank you for coming to the Harlem Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and that is Dillon. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Travis.
Take care.